Cocktails with the Homies.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Cocktails with the Homies. My name is Daniel. Today's a very special episode. We have someone in this industry who's just killing it. He's a force to be reckoned with. Worked in places like Wormwood, Kenner Exchange, and now at the very prestigious Addison. I'd like to welcome today Jason O'Brien to the show and joining us. Well, Jason, I think I'd love to get right to it. If you want to tell the people, what you do and where you do it, and yeah.
Thank you for having me. This is so we used to work together at Wormwood, so it's nice to see you again. Yeah. So I currently am what we refer to as the lead mixologist at Addison. I'm the only bartender, so I'm the only one. So by default, I am the lead. But yeah, I run the bar at what was until last Wednesday, Southern California's only 3 Michelin-star restaurant. Mm-hmm. There are now 2 in LA, which is exciting. Yeah. But it is a completely different type of bartending, of service, of anything that I've used to. So I've been there almost exactly a calendar year now, and it's taken some getting used to, but it's been fun.
Well, I think that's a great place to start. You talk about how it is something very unique in and of itself, right? Being able to work in a place like Addison and having, all of those resources at your disposal. Mm-hmm. How do you like how it differs from your past bartending where, the well was an Evan Williams and now you're getting Louis XIII cocktails?
It's great. It's a new challenge, right? Because I've been doing this I've been managing cocktail bars for 15 years. I've been bartending for 18, but I've been doing cocktail mixology stuff for 15 years now. And so, I've seen a lot of different versions of this. I've seen high volume at Kenner Exchange where it was just 3 or 4 deep making, balanced jigger cocktails, but just doing them in rounds of 6 for 6 hours at a time. Yeah. And then the Lion's Share, where I was for 5 years, which is much more cocktail driven. People come there for the bar, and so we get to kind of set the tone and everything. Mm-hmm. And at Addison, it's very different because it's all about the kitchen. Yeah. So we all exist, the front of house team entirely exists to support the kitchen, to support the vision, to deliver the experience that people come there for, which is the food. And so the task at hand is not to try to draw too much attention to myself. I avoid ingredients that are too culinary, because I think that's mostly the kitchen's domain. And I avoid things that are too, certainly no overly spicy or things like that. The food is very delicate and very complex with a radiance of flavor, and so that's what the cocktails try to do. Okay. Now, what's great about it is that price isn't really an issue the way it's been in literally every bar I've ever been in otherwise. And so I can use the right ingredient, even if it is more expensive, because cost is less of a focus than precision and clarity. Sure. And so I get to do things like occasionally mix with the best cognac in the world.
Does it kind of, I don't want to say hurt you a little bit to do that, but does it kind of, I don't know how to phrase this. Like, do you look at that and go, man, that's not needed in this cocktail? Or do you think you're taking away from a spirit that's been, has so much love put into it and attention?
You talking about nicer, like luxury spirits?
Exactly.
So there are some spirits where the nicer they get, the more expensive they get, they don't necessarily do better in cocktails. Like I believe in, so my favorite Manhattan, right? This is what I did for the first 3 months of COVID, is I just did 1 rye, 6 vermouths, different rye, 6 vermouths, and then I'll do 1 vermouth, 6 different ryes. I was trying to figure out the best way to make a Manhattan. And what I found was that in Manhattans, the specialness of a Manhattan is completely unconnected to the specialness of the rye or the specialness of the vermouth. It's not, if you get a 50-year rye that was unearthed from a shipwreck, that might make a great Manhattan, but probably not, because it's not about how good the individual ingredient is. It's about the way that they combine together. Okay. And most cocktails are this way. Most cocktails are the way that the flavor waves of this thing match with the flavor waves of this thing, and if you get them just so, it's perfect. It's got this distinct middle and beginning and end, beginning and middle and end, and all this stuff. Only a few different cocktails really benefit from having an incredibly luxurious, refined product. So Vieux Carrés are like that. That the older, the nicer the cognac, just generally the better it is.
Okay.
Bobby Burns are like that. Bobby Burns, essentially the Vieux Carré with Scotch instead of rye and cognac, and like a richly aged sherry oak Scotch like Macallan 18 makes just the best Bobby Burns anybody's ever had, which is absolutely incredible. And so it's been a fun project to kind of find the ways in which this is actually worth the money. You know, because I could make a sidecar with Louis XIII, and I could charge, what would that be? God, it'd be like $1,000 for it.
Yeah.
But it's not worth that money.
Yeah.
But if a Vieux Carré with Louis XIII is worth the money.
I love it. And, I really did get kind of a glimpse of that style of understanding a cocktail when we were at Wormwood, because you would take, like we were talking about earlier, you would take out like every absinthe on the bar, and you would try to make the one cocktail with it, and all of them, and you need process of elimination.
We talked about this a little bit offline, but one of the cool things about absinthe, like gin, like vermouth, is that it's a botanical product.
Yeah.
That everybody uses. You know, it's roughly the same stuff. It's Grand Wormwood, it's fennel, it's anise, but the way they distill it into the product means that the flavor waves that I talked about will line up differently. And so the theory was, because at Wormwood we had 50 different types of absinthe, 55. And so the theory was that each cocktail that calls for absinthe, these classic cocktail, Corpse Reviver number 2, a Sazerac, a Tuxedo number 2, will maximize for a different type of absinthe. And as it turns out, that's correct.
It was true.
So that's been really kind of satisfying, because you make otherwise identical Tuxedo number 2s, and you make 10 of them, and each glass is rinsed with a different absinthe, and then you taste them, and they're radically different from each other.
Super different.
And nobody knows that, because nobody has 55 types of absinthe to fuck with.
You know, we're lucky at some point. So hearing how you just innately talk about spirits and cocktails, do you think that lends to like, I know you do writing on the side.
I do.
Does that lend to better writing? Do you kind of, when you think about writing, do you rationalize cocktails differently in your head because you have to kind of put experience to paper?
That's an interesting question. I don't think so. I think it's different. I think it's different goals.
Okay.
Because understanding flavor is such a different skill set than explaining it to other people. So mostly what I do, I somehow, I mean, we could talk about it if you want to, but I somehow came into the employ of a magazine called Robb Report. And so for the last 5 years, once a week, I've written a cocktail article for Robb Report. And it's about a different, usually classic cocktail or neoclassic cocktail. So every week I say, like, my task is to explain, what is this drink? Where does it sit in the cocktail world? How can you understand it as somebody who's never had it before in 500 words? And does it have an interesting story? If it does, I'll tell you the story. If it doesn't, I'll just write something else. And then how do you make it? And so the how do you make it part, like what brands are, I'm not even really teaching about flavor. I'm just saying use this brand because it makes this other ingredient sing a little bit more than this other one. But I think they're actually two different skills.
When I come to try and write, you know, as you know, I've tried to do the same. But, you know, I feel like it was almost like showing the work on the cocktail. And it did make me kind of think about it a little differently in a sense, because, like, again, you think about the cocktail and, you know, how to describe it. But in that, you're just like, oh, okay. And you're trying to, like, you're putting what I thought was like putting math together. And I was like, okay, like, in explaining this, I thought of this different idea for it.
Totally. I mean, absolutely. So I had when I was fresh out of college, I went to Boston, and I had a job as an intern. I started as an intern of this alt weekly called the Boston Phoenix. This weekly magazine that had been around for 50 years is the Boston version of the Village Voice. And I started as an intern, and I worked my way up to the events editor, but the arts editor, a guy named Jeffrey, oh God, I thought I'd never forget his name, but the arts editor anyway, a guy named Jeff, I wrote a movie review for him, and then he kind of, my first one, he heavily critiqued it, but all of his critiques were brilliant because he's like, you described this as spectacular, you described this as brilliant. You are not describing the thing, you're describing your reaction to the thing. Mm-hmm. If I call something spectacular, that doesn't tell you a single thing about the thing itself. Yeah. It tells you that I thought it was good. But when you're trying to explain to somebody why they should have a thing, you wanted to explain what it is. What is this thing like? The goal is, even if somebody should be able to read your article and come away thinking, this isn't the drink for me, but I understand why. I understand what it's about. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so I think certainly my problem when I first started, and a lot of people's problem when they first start writing about things, is that they describe their reaction to it as opposed to the thing itself. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Do you find that writing about cocktails helps you create cocktails?
I wish. No, not really. The reading about them does, certainly. Like hearing, you never know where ideas are going to come from. But
yeah.
No, writing about things. So my biggest kind of angle, if I do, because I'll write about like the Sazerac, right? And like nobody needs another recipe for the Sazerac on the internet. Like nobody in the world. Like there's you could find 10,000 recipes for a Sazerac on the internet at this exact moment, and that's being conservative. Yeah. So what can I offer that other people haven't done? Like one, I think that I could frame it in a way that's a little bit, I have more jokes maybe than the average article about it, but for the most part, one of the things that I do that I don't see other people do very much is that other people don't, every article about, let's just stick with the Sazerac, writes it as if that's the only article about the Sazerac on the internet. So you'll read one and it'll say, use 2 ounces of rye and a quarter ounce of simple syrup and 2 dashes of absinthe. And you'll read another one that says 2 ounces of rye, but not simple syrup, use Demerara syrup. And if you're the consumer and you've got these two different things, okay, simple versus Demerara, like what do you do? Because the articles themselves don't address why there are different recipes. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I do. I say, listen, you're going to find simple versus Demerara, and simple will be cleaner. People call for Demerara and Sazerac sometimes. This is a little in the weeds, forgive me, but people call for Demerara and Sazerac sometimes because Demerara is better in old fashions, and it feels like that's connected, and so it adds some richness, and richness is almost always good. But then when you try them side by side, you realize that the richness actually works against the brightness of the absinthe that you would want. So that's why I say simple syrup. Like I try to say why.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so, you're talking about reading having an impact on you kind of creating. Is there a person in particular that you have kind of just delve into their work and try to take more inspiration from as of late?
Yeah. Every time I'm at a dead end, like I was literally yesterday, because I need to do... The day-to-day at Addison is so intense that the creative part can sometimes kind of fall by the wayside. And so I'm just tired of making all my drinks, so I need all new drinks. And so I'm giving myself a couple months to think them up. And it's only like 5 or 6. But normally, this is more than you asked, but just normally the creative process for me is that regulars will come in and ask for dealer's choice. And then through their prompts, that always catch you sideways, right? Make me something fruity but direct with mezcal. It's like, what? And then you try to figure it out. And then through that, there'll be, even if that thing's not awesome, hopefully it is, but even if that thing's not awesome, you'll give you an idea to follow, to chase, right? This is how the creative process normally works. I don't have any of that at Addison. I almost never get dealer's choice.
Really?
Yeah, people come in and they order off the menu, or they order a martini. Or old fashioned or something, which is fine. This is like what I'm there for.
Because I would imagine a lot of people get the wine pairings, right? And
yeah.
They try to go for wine.
Very much. Once you sit down in the dining room, mostly I've been doing cocktails literally my whole life. And even I will admit wine is the best pairing for food.
Yeah.
And especially in that context. And so, anyway, that creative spark has been kind of cut off.
Okay.
And so I need inspiration. I don't have it right now. And so Liquid Intelligence, the Dave Arnold book came out 11 years ago, and it's still like, I've read it like 3 times, and I still find new things in it every time I go through it, and so it'll spark some idea that'll chase
book.
something. Yeah,
Such a good book.
it's like my favorite.
Yeah.
If you're scientifically inclined, that's like my favorite book.
Yeah, super good book. Even for like food, because like it's less so the ingredients, but more so the thought process to using them that really helps.
Yeah.
And it's really like, oh shit.
Totally. He's obsessive. So what's cool about him is that he was the technology, I'm going to get his job probably technically wrong, but something like the technology director of the French Culinary Institute of America for like 20 years. Mm-hmm. He's a chef. He's a trained chef. He just liked cocktails, and then he kind of did a slight phase change, and now he's a cocktail guy. But what that means is that he knows flavor. Yeah. Like, you'll read books, and you'll read cocktail books, and you make the recipes, and most of the books, like some of the recipes are on, some of them are off. You know, you need to fill a whole book. Maybe you don't have time to check all the recipes. And he's one of the ones that, like, all of his flavors are on. I've been to his bars. I went to Booker and Dax when it existed, and Existing Conditions after that, and the flavors are just on. Like, he just knows. Like, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's impressive. It's impressive the detail that like had to be given to make that book.
Totally. I can't believe that's the
like
product of one lifetime. Allegedly, he's making an update because that was
Really?
11 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But
that's exciting.
We'll see. I hope.
Yeah. So, you know, you come from pretty much like a very wide array of types of bars. You go from like, I'm sure you've hobbled in a dive bar before for a second. You know, you go to like Crafty with Kettner and the Lion's Share, great bar. And then you get into like Ultra Crafty, right? And Addison. How do you feel like the bar scene has changed in San Diego? Now that, you know, we're getting internationally recognized, people are coming here just to start eating and dining, which is brand new. You never saw that before. But how do you think that's kind of influenced the bar scene? Like, do you think it's kind of behind the food scene? Do you think we're kind of making a run and going head to head with the food scene? Like, are we moving the needle forward? Do you think?
I do think. So I started this, like, I moved to San Diego in 2010. And I remember at Urban Pizza in North Park, in 2010, we opened in October of 2010, and I remember trying to get people to like gin, right? Like, I remember, like, the battle wasn't won. It wasn't even close to won when we were starting. And, like, I wouldn't put an egg white cocktail on the menu because I was afraid of how much time it would take, because we were already trying to convince people to spend more money for drinks that took longer.
Yeah.
And like, we were just doing everything we can just to get the drinks in their hands and to fend off accusations of pretentiousness. Like, it was still very much in the trenches of trying to get people around to our vision of what cocktail should be. And that battle is long over. Like, we have won the war. You can get a good cocktail at the airport now, right?
Yeah.
And so
you can.
Things have changed dramatically since then. Mm-hmm. And yes, I think that if I were to levy a critique on the San Diego food scene that was really true 15 years ago, and is still kind of true now, it's that we have a weakness for shiny mediocrity. We have a weakness for things that are gorgeous, absolutely impeccably designed. I want to Instagram myself in every possible angle of this restaurant, and yet the food is like mid, right?
I fucking feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, the shiny mediocrity is just everywhere, and it's so much less of a problem than it was back then. Like, somebody could come for a week and I could take them to 2 restaurants a day, and they would leave having 14 great meals and leave thinking that San Diego's a world-class food city, and that just wasn't true even, 8 years ago? 8.
For sure, 8. So
the food is coming a long way, and the drinks are right there with it. I don't think we're behind. You know, there's a zeitgeist, there's a trend-setting aspect to this that New York will always be ahead of us.
Yeah.
We're kind of a little hamlet down here. It's a little provincial still.
Yeah.
But if you don't think of needing to be at the forefront of trend-setting, like, we're not the first to use like miso in our drinks, right? Like,
yeah.
If you don't care about that, which I truly don't, I think San Diego's just as good as anybody.
That's very well put.
Thank you.
I think, yeah, that's almost hit the nail on the head with that one. Because I agree. I agree with your shining mediocrity. Like, Definitely back then, for sure too.
Yeah. There's like now like you don't have to use sochu. Like there are national trends, and we need to pay attention to them because they are important in a way. It's what the drinkers want, and cocktails are about discovery, and so it's about what's new, right? There are cities like Singapore where almost every serious cocktail bar has their menu is narrative. It's like, this menu is our tribute to the 1960s and the spirit that founded the Singapore Republic, or it's like this incredible narrative structure where every cocktail fits into the story in this way. And San Diego's never really been that. We are, so we're, I would behind the times that way, but I don't really care about that. I think it's fun and interesting, and I like that kind of thing. But I also think the thing I care about is like, how good are the drinks? How good are the flavors? Are you making drinks that are great? And I think we are.
Is there an aspect of bartending here in San Diego that you think is misunderstood?
I'm not sure what that would be. I mean, San Diego has always been a real like fuck it, like like.
Well, we could take it more to you specifically. Is there a bartending aspect at Addison that you think is misunderstood?
I think people think that at Addison I need to be making. I'm centrifuge clarifying all of my citrus. I need to be on the cutting edge of some kind of technological forefront, which I really like that stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's just by and large I don't have the time for it, and that's really not what's important. What's important at Addison is clarity of flavor and the kind of the radiance of the ingredients. It needs to scream freshness in a way, and clarity, like I was saying, like there needs to be a distinct beginning, middle, and end. It needs to take you on a journey. Every ingredient needs to speak. It needs to speak clear as a bell, and that's harder than it seems.
Sure.
And that kind of thing. If I, it's largely a self-criticism. Nobody comes at me with this, but I think that if you see the ingredients on a list, it's not that exciting, or can be relatively unexciting. I'll take a drink I have right now. Just call it the green apple. There's a somewhat pretentious fine dining convention where you just, because I can't name it like what I did last night, like that doesn't fit Addison. I'm wearing a suit, so it has to just be like the green apple. And I juice Granny Smith apples every day. And so it's 1.5 Monkey 47 gin.
Oh, good gin.
3/4 chamomile syrup, 3/4 split lemon and lime, and 1 ounce of green apple juice, and like one, not even a dasher, but like one eyedropper full of lavender bitters, Scrappy's lavender bitters. And you shake that. Don't overshake it. If you overshake it, it ruins it. So it's like 6 or 7 seconds max, and then just strained tall, and that's it. That's the whole drink. And if you look at the ingredients, it's like gin, apple, lemon, lime, chamomile, lavender. That's not that exciting.
Yeah.
And you would be like, the criticism I hear in the back of my head is like, is this fine dining enough for this? But every ingredient is so precisely chosen, and every sip is just like, it makes me want to like grab the chair. Like, this is so good. It just resonates in a way that I can't ignore. But clarity and precision and those things you don't read on a menu. You just read flavors.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try to maximize for. So if I feel in any way misunderstood, which doesn't happen very much because I talk a lot, but if I feel in any way misunderstood, that's how.
Got it. I mean, you're your own biggest critic about the elegance of simplicity.
Yeah, you want to be worthy of a 3 Michelin-star restaurant. That's the whole thing. You wake up wanting to be worthy of it. You go to sleep wanting to be worthy of it. It's like a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
So how do you come to find yourself separating all of it for a minute? And because, talk about flavors and simplicity, there's also balance, right? Balance is the underlying tone of it all. How do you find balance in your life for such a thing where it's so consuming? Because I would imagine working at that place, it's consuming, right?
It is. It's all in all the time. That's the mantra, and you really, that's the way to succeed there. And it's not that hard because it's very compelling. You know, it's very compelling work. If I didn't like it, it would be impossible. Yeah. But I do. How do I find balance? I also write every week, so it's hard. I work a lot.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, even you go home and you have to go, all right, now I have to think about a cocktail. Like, I just finished making them for 10 hours.
Yeah, and I got to workshop them. I got to make sure. That's my whole thing, is try to make sure that I'm giving somebody the best version of this thing that I have.
Exactly. So your life is conceptualizing cocktails, prepping, making them, going home and writing about them. How do you cut? Where do you find that line?
My incredible wife has really taken up a lot of the slack. God bless her. She has taken most of the dog duties and things like that. Mm-hmm. So the day-to-day of living life and having a home you have to maintain and all that stuff, like, that's largely outsourced at this exact moment, which is great. And I have come. I mean, it's a whole philosophy, right? Because there's this book. This is not what you asked, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So there's this book called 4,000 Weeks by a guy named Oliver Burkeman. And if you were to categorize this book somewhere, I'm going to talk. You should get into this book. If you were to categorize it anywhere, it would be in self-help. It purports to be a time management book. Mm-hmm. But once you read it, you realize it's not a time management book. What it tries to do is convince you that time management is a big waste of time. It's a waste of time, that everybody labors under the delusion that, I'm not quite living the life that I want to live at this exact moment. I'm almost there. If I can just get past this next set of hurdles, if I can just get past this, I just need to get past this next podcast episode, or I need to get past this next, it's a big month at work, somebody's out, when they get back, everything will be, then I can finally get on top of my to-do list, and I'll finally be able to live the life that I feel like I really should be living. And that's an illusion. You'll never get there. It's a waste of time. Don't even try. Don't try to conquer your to-do list. It'll just grow until you can't conquer it anymore. Yeah. And it's a whole philosophy that I've really internalized, because it just tells me something that I already knew was true, but I didn't realize it. Mm-hmm. And so you asked me how I balance it. The way to balance needing to work this much is that I have acknowledged that I have a to-do list that will never be satisfied. And so there are things that I just won't get to, but I maximize for time with my wife, time with my dog. I try to just cut time out for family, cut time out for friends. If I can't cook this week, that's why DoorDash exists. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just, I try to figure out what's important and just do those things, and then.
Is there a hobby in particular or activity that forces you to not think about food or drinks?
Hobby, no. I like woodworking a lot, but one, I'm not that good at it. I just love it. And two, no, there's no time for hobbies. It's if my hobby is spending time with my wife and my friends. That would be my hobby, yeah.
That's a good one.
And when I'm done with this, then I'll spend more time exercising and woodworking and flying kites or something. I don't know. In the meantime, I'm an Addison.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely impressive the amount of time you give to a craft, because you are the front of house representation of what's going on in the back. I think you're not a server. You don't get a chance to walk out and be like, I'm done. Yes, serving, you could go read a book and learn how to better serve and how to better be hospitable to different types of people. But, you are a front of house representation of prep, of, you were talking about, flavor, conceptualizing things from nothing. So it's impressive how you don't put it away.
Thank you. That's exactly how I put it too. I'm representing Addison here right now. This is doing this, walking down the street. I represent Addison. It's a whole lifestyle, or lifestyle. It's not a cult, but it is a mentality. It is you can't. You can clock in and clock out. You can do that,
sure,
but you won't be any good at it.
Sure.
And I want to be the best at this. That's the whole idea. I want to be the best bartender Addison's ever had. With all love and respect to my friend Ian Ward, who was my predecessor. I want to be, I want to be great at it. Whatever I do, I want to be great at it. So that's what it takes. And it's exhilarating to be a part of something that calls on you that deeply.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. A lot of people would kind of regard this as reaching the peak of bartending, right? You hit, just like chefs, right? He hit 3 Michelin. You got there. or you got a job there.
Yeah, exactly. That is a difference.
Yeah.
I didn't earn the 3 stars.
No, yeah.
But I aspire to be worthy of it.
Hey, man, if you're there for a year, you've given almost a pound of flesh by now, for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So again, reaching kind of that height. Looking back, what kind of advice would you give to people who are currently within that mindset of like, I want to be the best. One day I want to get there, and I want to do that, and I want to do this. What kind of actual advice that would be helpful to these folks could you give them to kind of aid them on their journey?
Like if you wanted to end up where I am, like at Addison specifically, or just like kind of like
even that idea of like them reaching that peak, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
To some it's 3 Michelin, to some it's 50 best, number 1 on 50 best lists.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that one, because that's a lot of politicking and a lot of just kind of playing the game, and it's not even cynically. It's just kind of being more outwardly focused. 50 best is about the way the voting works. Is well, it doesn't matter. It's not what you asked me. My thing. It's hard to say if this is good advice, but my thing is just to whatever it is that you do it as well as you can possibly do it. And there are diminishing returns, right? Like
Sure.
I could spend every waking minute reading books on the science of flavor, but I'm also a husband, and I also am a friend, and I also have a dog, and I also have things that I like to do, but just within like whatever I do, I just try to do it as well as I possibly can, and good things have happened from that. I'm not sure that's great advice. Like that could be just luck. It could be me specific stuff. Like here, okay, so like, I've always enjoyed writing, right? And so in 2012, I was managing Urban, and it was full time, but it was like not too full time. So I started a blog called Drinks and Drinking, where I essentially just here's what Chinar is, and here's a cool cocktail I had, and then it turned into I tried 130 different versions of this drink. Here's the best one, and here's why.
Yeah.
And so I updated it. I don't know, maybe a couple times a month for like 5 years, and then I got a job at Lion Share through Kettner Exchange, because that wasn't too demanding of my kind of free time. And then I started Lion Share, and Lion Share was full time, and I just stopped it. So I hadn't updated it since 2017. 2.5 years later, I get an Instagram message from somebody, a message request. And it was like the message request thing was new at the time, I think, in 2019. So like I didn't even see it for 2 months.
It's like a separate tab or something?
Yeah, it was a separate tab. I didn't even know how to check it. And it was like, hey, Jason, do you still write? I found your blog. I like it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I look at it. It's the editor-in-chief of a national magazine called Robb Report that I used to read when I was 15. Like, this is like a huge magazine.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what can I do for you? And he was just fishing shoulder deep in the blogosphere, found my articles, liked what I did there, yanked me up by my collar and was like, hey, do you want to be a professional writer? I'm like, well, now that you mention it, yeah, I do. I didn't do anything to earn that. I mean, I didn't do anything to court it.
Okay.
But I was doing the blog thing, so I just did that as well as I could possibly do it. I would edit these things like 50 times to get the exact wording right, and nobody gave a fuck. Nobody's like, hey, I love that blog post yesterday. Like, nobody read it. But I wanted to do it as well as I could do it. Yeah. And then 2.5 years later, something way out of left field came and kind of changed my life a little bit. And so, is that advice? I don't know. Like, if I did it the same way in life number 2, I doubt very seriously that I could ever get that lucky. But nonetheless, I think the principle holds that whatever you do it as well as you can, and good things tend to happen.
Yeah.
I got like 50 stories like that of just random stuff happening because I was great at the thing.
I think that's great advice, because it sets you up to be the best you can be for that serendipitous moment that you're talking about.
And to assess, and because you just had a baby, like to assess what your jobs are. Yeah. Like when I first started Lion Share, it was the biggest job I've ever had. And I had more respect for Lion Share in my heart than any place that I had. Like, I was like, I aspire to be worthy of this place. Same as Addison now. But I acknowledged that we were going through kind of a difficult time with family. And I had to step away. Like right after I got the job, I had to kind of pull away a little bit for a couple months. And I told the owners, I'm like, listen, like this is the first time I've ever done this. I will give you my absolute everything, but like after this period of illness is done, but like if I have to choose between being a good husband and being a good bar manager, I'm gonna choose husband. I won't have to make this choice most of the time. Like most of the time, I will be here for you, and you'll never feel any other allegiance, But like, I have to do it, and to their infinite credit, they believed me, and so they kind of cut me a lot of slack after I had the job for like 3 weeks, and then I came back a few months later and like did what I think is a very good job for them.
Yeah, I mean, you're still there.
Yeah, well, that was the lion's share, but yeah, I'm still very much a part of that family.
Yeah. Which, by the way, congratulations to the brothers. Fucking taking that over.
I am so excited for the next chapter.
What a beast, dude.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for them too and what they can do.
Because you hear line shares getting sold, you just like your heart drops because if they change it one iota, it's like.
And then you hear who they sold it to, and then your heart just lifts back up again.
It's brilliant. It's beautiful.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
So we've gone on a pretty long journey now of talking about your bartending and where you started and where you come from and where you hope to go, and what kind of, was there a moment that put you onto this path? Was there like this pivotal moment where you were like, I think I fucking like this? Like
cocktails?
Yeah.
It was distinct. I remember everything about it. So it was, I had always wanted to be a bartender. I got a job in 2005. I'm pretty old. I got a job in 2005 as a barback at the Venice Cantina in Venice Beach, just like mopping up tequila and trying to learn a little bit when I can. And I look young for my age, I always have, and I was 21, so I looked like 17. I was like, can I have a job? They're like, no, but you can mop the floors. But I'd always been interested in the bar. I couldn't tell you why. But it wasn't cocktails, it was just the vibe of it. I thought it was cool. And then I moved to Boston right after college, just for a couple years. And I moved in with my sister, and she's like, oh, good news. I found the spot for us. Because she already lived there. She's like, I found an apartment for us. It's right across the street from a cocktail bar. And this is October of 2007. And I'm like, a cocktail bar? Aren't all bars cocktail bars? Like I can get a fucking Sex on the Beach at any bar in the world. Isn't that a cocktail bar? Like I didn't even understand what the concept was. Yeah. And it was called Green Street Grill. And we go in, and the bartender there turned out to be pretty famous. Her name was Misty Calcafin. She was the East Coast brand person for Del Maguey. I think she still might be, but she's now like all-purpose agave queen and just like one of the best bartenders in the world. And she was just happened to be the bartender at my neighborhood bar. Again, ridiculous luck. And I walk in, and I'm like, give me a Jack and Coke. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have any, Jack Daniels, but you're interested. And I'm like, what do you even have? Like, I'm just like being a douche. And in that moment, I feel like she treated me with this unreasonable kindness. She's like, have you ever had an old fashioned? I'm like, what's that? And she grabs some of the little bitters things that I'd seen, these like the thing with the paper label that was too big, and did a couple of dashes of that, and she like stirs it instead of doing some lazy ass shake, and I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. And hands me this amber colored liquid, and I take a sip of it, and I'm like, okay, you need to tell me what that is, because this is literally the best thing I've ever had. And it was, that was, this year will be 18 years ago?
Yep.
And it became my obsession. So I worked at a sports bar called the Tavern in the Square, which is why I know what's in a Sex on the Beach. I had a shiny black tie making Jack and Cokes for college students. There's buffalo sauce on literally every page of the menu. Like, it's one of those places. And yet, I would work there, and then I would just obsess at the cocktail bars. I was one of those people who would just one of those regulars who'd come in, make me another stirred Scotch drink with Benedictine, but a different one.
Just stare at the bottle.
Exactly, just And I was just infatuated with it. I loved it so much. And I applied for a job with a guy named Tom Schlesinger-Cadelli at Craigie on Main. And he comes, because he had known me because I'd just been annoying him for years. And I came in for an interview, and he's gave me this hour-long interview asking me questions I did not know the answers to, like what's in a Negroni, One of the questions was pick an old world wine region and talk about it, which seemed at the time to be an outrageously difficult question. Like, who even knows that? Like, which is just so funny how little I knew at the time. But yeah, and then I moved here instead of that job. He was willing to give me like a bar backing apprenticeship, but I just I decided to move to San Diego, and I moved here, and the cocktail movement here was in its infancy. So I was just like, yeah, cocktails, I've heard of that. And they're like, you're hired. And so, yeah, I got a job at Urban, and then I've just been doing it ever since. But yeah, it was that moment that really kind of changed cocktails from like object to subject of my whole professional life.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
what
love
a
it.
person to change that.
Yeah,
you know?
seriously.
That's pretty cool.
Seriously, she's amazing. She's a degree in divinity from Harvard, and she's like, nah, I'm just gonna be a bartender instead. She's incredible.
She's like,
she made the
totally the
Maximilian
opposite,
Affair.
right?
She made the Sentimental Gentleman. She invented a bunch of drinks. She's incredible.
Well, that's a pretty cool story of how to start.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. I know you're a busy man, and to carve out an hour of your time is a solid ask. But
Thank you for having me.
I mean, I appreciate you coming.
Nice. It's nice to catch up again.
Yeah, it's been a long time. You know, thank you for sharing your bit of wisdom with the folks. Whoever watches this, I'm sure they'll learn something, because I definitely did, and I'm, here with you.
I love it. I'm inspired by y'all. Like, this is cool. You just, whatever you do, just do it as well as you can do it.
We're just out
You're
here
clearly
hacking away.
prepared. Like, this is great. And then good things come. I'm not a woo-woo guy. I don't believe in manifesting, but I just think you just do good work and people notice.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me.
We hope to do the best, but appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. Next time, maybe we'll have a cocktail.
Sounds great.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us.